Pickaninny, Barbie doll, high yellow heifer, wanna be white, Jig-A-Bobo. Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, coming to talk to you guys about episode 8, LoveCraft Country, Jig-A-Bobo. Now, so much happened in this episode. Like, I feel like this has been the best episode that we've had so far. So much symbolism in this episode, so many references in this episode. Like, whew, I couldn't catch them all, y'all. But before we get into what was so great about this episode and start this discussion, I'm going to give you guys a second to go and subscribe, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about Jig-A-Bobo. Go ahead. So now that you guys have subscribed to see more of moi, let's get into this episode, Jig-A-Bobo. Jigga what? Jigga who? No, okay. Stay on. Yo, split your flow, get your dough, can't fuck with this fucking fellowship, yo. Okay. Back to the episode. I'm sorry, y'all. We start off on a very serious note with this particular episode. It's one of the hottest days of the summer, and we see a gathering of like everyone in town. And I didn't know what it was at first, but once I kind of saw what everyone was wearing, and I was kind of getting the feeling that I had when I watched the Four Little Girls Spike Lee documentary, and we saw, those tragedy happened, and so many people have to gather to share their condolences, and it's not enough space in the church. I wasn't sure who passed at that moment or what happened, but I came to the conclusion that it was a funeral. But Rosie, who the hell is Rosie? Ruby, Letty, and Montrose and Diana have all gathered to, pay their respects. And we see, that the funeral is pretty graphic. Because, we see people, about to faint, short of breath. People are throwing up because what's in the casket is so gruesome. And you see that within the group, there's tension. And there's been a lot of tension in the group, but you saw that everybody managed to come together for this funeral, and even Montrose. But you see that there is such tension in the air, and Diana looks different. Now, that first episode, when right when Tick was getting off that bus and coming home, Diana was so childlike and innocent and just happy to be a kid and draw her comics. She looks so different here. She looks so in disbelief of, is this what it's coming to? We learn that this is a funeral for Emmett Till, and we all know too well about Emmett Till and the story, the horror story, the graphics, and that shot of him in that open casket, and the sadness of that story. And this episode did a very good job of putting us into that story. This was like, everyone had their episode. I love, everyone had an episode. This was Emmett Till's episode. But you see that Letty is really tense, and she pulls Tick to the side to say, how long are we going to do this? When are we going to tell her about Hippolyta? we find out that Hippolyta has been gone for over a week now. Now, last episode, we saw that Hippolyta was on a journey through the galaxy, honey, you know, discovering herself. I am woman, hear me war. But for all we know, as much as she traveled and all the time that was taken, it probably was a week's time. I said that, you know, last review, like, how long has she been gone? Because each place she traveled, she stayed what seemed to be long periods of time. But Letty is just like, you know, let's just tell her that, you know, she's dead. Clearly she's dead. And Tick is, you know, being hopeful. Like, we don't know that. Let's not do that. In the midst of them talking, Diana's run away. Run off looking for Diana. Diana is roaming the streets, trying to find what childhood she thought she had. That seems to be stripped away. Because, you know, we saw past episode, you know, Mom, we're going to hang out. We're going to listen to music. We're going to the arcade. She goes back to the local arcade. We see girls that resemble what she was practically, you know, weeks ago. And she's mad. She's throwing rocks. You know, there's nothing funny. A boy just died. A boy was murdered. Her innocence is just like so gone. Not only has this young man died, her dad is dead and her mom has been missing. And just as she's, you know, walking, she's approached by the captain and an officer. This sinister captain. So much. This is a heavy episode. Now, as soon as they capture her and they're, you know, because they found that comic at the scene of the crime, asking her, you know, what's her mom's name, and, you know, does she know anything about magic, and has her in this all too familiar chokehold. This chokehold that we just can't seem to get away from no matter how hard we try. It's like every week there is horrific things happening with our men and women in this chokehold, saying, I can't breathe. We were like 10 minutes into the episode, y'all. I was like, Diana tells the captain, you know, she can't breathe. But they put her into this, you know, this chalk written circle. He spits on her forehead and pretty much casts this spell on her. We don't know what it is just yet. But as he's casting this spell and she's faint, going, I can't breathe, we see our first symbolism of that black man on the cream of wheat box. It's just so funny that even, because, you know, this is the 50s, even now, just now, we're getting to, you know, hey, that might not be okay to be on that box. That might be racist. Let's remove that from our products. We're just removing those symbols, you know, those Uncle Ben, Aunt Your Mama symbols now. Like right now, like last week. We get to see a little bit of why Tick was kind of, he was there at the funeral, but he seemed to be a little out of it. Seemed to be a little hasty. Like Diana had ran off and he's, oh yeah, I'll go check such and such. Tick goes to meet up with Christina. Now, with everything that's happened, that's transpired over the course of 7 episodes, why Tick would have to go meet up with Christina, why he would trust Christina enough to meet up with her and ask for any favors, is beyond me. But we see why Tick is there. Tick is yearning for something that he has been yearning for this whole show. Protection for himself and protection for, most of all, his family, especially after Uncle George was murdered. It's been all about protection this whole time. The squirrel, everything. And it's an exchange for the key, Harem's key, to unlock this portal. Christina shows him, you know, a protection spell, says a little yin yang yin, don't know what it was, but says, you know, if you draw this circle in chalk, blood, cast it, you can protect yourself. And he gives her the key. As she's walking out, he says a little bit of that Adam's language. She's a little stopped in her track, like, oh, he's getting somewhere. And he's, you know, asks her, what's the end game? Like, what are you after? Why are you doing this? Christina reveals that, of course, she wants immortality. She wants to achieve that. She wants to achieve what her father couldn't do. Because at the end of the day, this has kind of all been about her dad and what she feels like she was never really a part of because she was a woman. Now, meanwhile, Diana has ran off. People are searching for her. She's made her way back home and is found by Montrose. She, locks herself in the bathroom because she's so fed up. She's like, I'm sick of you people lying to me. She is where Hippolyta was episodes ago when she felt that everyone was lying to her about Uncle George's death. And she's like, you're lying to me about my mom. If my mom is dead, just tell me. You guys need to stop lying to me. I'm not a little kid anymore. Like, look at what we just did, what we just saw. The innocence is gone. Just tell me the truth. And as Montrose, is trying to plead with her to come out of the bathroom, we get our first shot of this imagery of what's to come. And a book falls, Uncle Tom's Cabin. Now, if you're familiar with this book is about a slave, and it's kind of, flip-flopped of why we get that, that negative, you Uncle Tom slur, like you kiss ass, you suck up to the, the white man. But in actuality, Uncle Tom was actually a strong dual slave who, went out his way to protect other slaves and, share his cotton. So, like, I don't want anyone to get whipped, and wouldn't give away the whereabouts to other runaway slaves. Now, Sambone was the slave who was in charge of pretty much beating up and whipping Uncle Sam until he pretty much died. So the negative aspect in that story is actually Sambo. So if you wanted to call somebody Sambo, that would be more of a term, but we still get you Uncle Tom. But the book falls and Dee runs off. Now we get into Ruby. Now, last episode we kind of saw where Ruby was as far as Christina was concerned. Here is confirmed. I already knew it, but it was confirmed here. She's, going into the house. She's stopped by officers. Once again, she has to be rescued by William. And she wanted to be. We get into this passion, this moment of passion. We get this, this bath, and how intimate a bath can be. Like, bump the sex scene, like wiping backs and stuff. Like, y'all in whole love. Okay, Ruby and Christina. But this isn't Christina at this moment. This is William. And, bathing, lathering up, and about to get intimate. She stops him to go and drink this potion. Now, soon as she drank that potion, I was like, no, Ruby, don't drink the potion now. Because if you didn't drink the potion to turn yourself into a white woman, that will make this all too real, right? Like, no, I'm not sleeping with you as Ruby. I'm sleeping with you as my white self, Haley. I'm not Ruby right now. But it's so passionate and just they're so into it. It comes off immediately. From previous episodes, we see that the potion lasts for a decent amount of time. No, soon as they get into it and looks like Ruby's about to climax, all that skin starts to peel off. There's blood. We get bloody love making. And we see Ruby again. Christina is still William. But Ruby can't hide from who she is anymore. Like, we see you, girl. We see you. Now cut back to the house. Jen and Letty are shaking the table. And Tick already knew, what was coming up because he saw those shoes outside. Like, ain't nobody else taking off their shoes to enter this house but this Korean woman. I know who's here. And I was sitting there like, oh, shit. But we cut away from that. I was like, no, stay there. I want to see that. But we cut away from that and go back to Diana, who's on the run. She's, about to get on the subway. And we see these images coming. These demonic Jig-A-Bobo girls. I was like, oh, what a way to portray those graphics for what they really were. If you ever go back, especially on YouTube, because it's all there, and go look at those images, some that were blackface, some that weren't, of how we were depicted back then, scary. It's scary. And it was depicted here perfectly for the horror that it was. That wasn't us. But that's what was depicted so much that that's what they thought we were. Still what some people think we are today. But they are coming for her. No one else can see them except for her, though. And she's running away and barely escaping by the skin of her teeth. At this point of the story, Diana is still very much scared, running for her life. And we see growth from that part on up. Cut back to the house where we shaking the table. Letty looks so fed up, like everything that's happened, all the death that's happened, it takes for Jen to pop back up, for her to just be like, okay, I'm done. But Jen spills everything, like, this is why I'm here, this is what I saw, and informs Letty of what we already knew, that Tick could very much so die. She saw it. This is what she does. She sees things. And this is what I saw. Tick does what Tick always does every episode when he gets some information that he doesn't like. He gets mad. We get the tight lips. I'm mad. Like, be an adult. Sit down and talk. All in this woman's face, yelling. And it's like, why are you even here? If you don't have true answers for me of what really happens to me when I die, why are you here? Letty's like, oh, because she loves you. Hell, even I know that. That's why she's here. That's why she came all this way. Letty walks off. Tick takes that opportunity to shut Jen down. What we had was never real. You need to go. Yeah. He was real Montrose at that moment. It was very reminiscent of how Montrose talked to Sammy. He is his father's son. At this point, Letty is done getting stuff together. I'm like, girl, where you going? This is your spot. Where are you going? And she's like, I'm tired. Like, why didn't you tell us? Another instant of him keeping a secret. And once again, it's for that grand scheme of, it was to protect you. I'm trying to protect us. I'm trying to protect everybody. She's like, you doing a hell of a job. Uncle George is dead. Hippolyta is missing. Diana is in danger of these Jig-A-Bobo demons. No, Tick. I was, murdered, brought back to life, resurrected. You protecting us, though? Okay. But he lets Letty know that he is going to try to cast a protection spell. She's like, since when? Since when did you learn how to do spells? Oh yeah, I met up with Christina, and she had showed me how to do that. Out of her mouth, she says, why would you ever trust Christina? You can't trust anything she does or anything she says. I don't have any choice. This is to protect us. I know there are bigger things at stake. When he hit that, I was like, And my was confirmed a couple of scenes later. We get back to Ruby and Christina now. And as soon as the passion is over, like, who's cleaning this place? Who's cleaning them sheets? All this blood, this splatter, these floors. Who's cleaning? There is no maid. But okay. After that, she approaches her. And I do not mess with Christina at all, but I was so happy for her in this moment to call Ruby out for what she was, because we saw it. I saw it. And Ruby, I want you to feel something. I'm mad. I'm a black woman, and I'm here. I'm with you. A young man was murdered. I want you to feel that. And she goes through, the motions of how he was murdered, the barbed wire, the cotton gin, the beating, the shooting. Don't you feel anything for that? Don't you feel anything at all? You and your white privilege. And Christina's like, I'm gonna call you back. Let me tell you something. While Ruby's going, I drank that potion because I just didn't want to be another, not today of all days. I didn't want to be a black woman fucking a white man. Not today. Really, Ruby? That's what that was? It wasn't. And Christina corrects her. No, ma'am. You're not going to bring it this way. I don't care about that. I don't care about the other 50 million black men who were men and boys and young girls who were murdered before. And deep down, I don't think you do either. You've just been conditioned to. And you drank that potion to disguise the feelings that you're having for me. You slept with me because you wanted to. You like me. You really like me. You love some Christina Williams. Knowing what she knows about Christina, the plan, whatever she may have shared, it seems like she shared everything at this point. You still take it up on yourself to live there, be with her, sleep with her, transform, share secrets. Like, are you guys sleeping together every night? You're reveling in it. You want to be there. This has nothing to do with Emmett Till. This has everything to do with Ruby. Now, just like Tick, because he's supposed to be searching for Diana also, Letty is so consumed with everything that's going on with Tick, she's completely ignoring Diana's cries for help. Like, this poor little girl is running around town alone without a mother, father, a soul. The only person who seemed to have any concern for her was Montrose, shockingly. But she's consumed with herself. She's just trying to, get out and clear her mind. And Diana's like, do you see that? Like, look, and she's gasping, like, I can't breathe. I can't speak. And let us, get some water in the house. Just go in the house. Call Montrose. Let him know we are. Like, you saw me. You saw me gasping, sister. So symbolic. You saw me. You saw that I couldn't breathe. You saw me in trouble. You saw it, and you just kept going. Go in the house. Get some water. When Diana is clearly, like, scared for her life. Deep. But we see Montrose doing, Montrose's favorite pastime. He's drinking. We see Tick searching for Diana. No. Tick. Montrose. Hey, we're still with Diana. Montrose is still very much with Diana. I saw her. She was in the house. I caught her. I talked to her for a minute, but she ran out the window. Did you cheat on my mama? That's what you're worried about right now? Your niece is missing. Your cousin is missing. The baby girl is missing. Did you cheat on my mama? No. I had urges, but I never did it. And Montrose goes through very plausible reasons that still stand today. It's sick of why he chose to hide his sexuality for so long. And let him know that the love that he had for his mom may have not been the traditional love, but they still had love for each other, no less. And he will understand when he has children of his own. But Montrose goes through, I didn't want to be, demonized for being my true self. I didn't want to be lobotomized. I didn't want to be jailed. I didn't want to be murdered in some park just so I can be me. So I chose this life. Like, choose this life. Like, can you blame me? And that's still happening now. To a very certain extent, you know, gay people, transgenders, the spectrum are penalized and murdered all the time just for being who they are. Montrose is like, I didn't want to do that. Definitely not now in these 1950s. So your mother wanted a family. That's what we did. You'll understand when you have kids. My came into fruition because remember at the very beginning, we very much see Tick treating Letty like a pregnant woman. You sure don't want to sit down? You sure don't want to sit? You can sit. Here, drink my water. This is for us. I know there are things at stake. I already know she's pregnant. She hasn't told me yet. Because I had been waiting. I was like, when is she going to say something? Like, maybe he'll slow down if he knows. Like, nope, he already knew. I know you already knew. They have a father-son moment, and he just instantly comes into acceptance of, I can understand why you did what you did. But in the meantime, I've been to the future, and I have this book. I know Letty's pregnant, and I know for a fact that she is because this book is written by my son, George Freeman, LoveCraft Country. Now we cut to Letty in the church with all the candles lit in the city. I was like, damn, wow, dramatic effect. Okay. But she's praying, you know, for God to protect her family, herself, her unborn child, and most of all, Atticus. And we see in the, you know, the background, the shadows, we see Christina coming in. At first I thought it was Diana, but we see Christina sneaks up on Letty while she's praying. But Christina was invited. Now, after what she said to Atticus about trusting her, she decides to trust her also. Like, okay, two can play that game. I can do stuff selfishly in protection too. Things that probably aren't the smartest thing to do. But she offers the pages, you know, because she took pictures, to Christina in exchange of being invulnerable to Tick. But she says that she won't do it. But she will do it for her. She hesitates at first, but then she stops her, give her the pages. She immediately casts a spell, and Letty and her baby are now invulnerable. Like, can't be penetrated, can't die, from what we can see. All right, Letty. We cut to Diana. She is watching. This whole time we've seen these two little sinister demons flipping, and this is very much reminiscent of the way, you know, they would showcase children back then, and advertisement and commercials and certain movies and dancing, and it was scary then and it was scary here in the show. That wasn't us. But they're, you know, steady, you know, following her. And she is tired. Like, we've seen a very frightful Diana before. Now, just like, you know, her mom, we see strong Diana. She not only watches the captain, but she follows him all the way back to his location. I was like, oh, girl, you brave. We cut back to Montrose and Tick, still bonding, still having their, you know, their father-son moment. And they're talking about, you know, I'm prepared to do any and everything to protect my family, protect my son. And the book is about our family. A couple of things are misplaced and, you know, redirected. for the novel, but I think it's true. And if what happens in the book is going to happen now, Christina is going to sacrifice me for immortality. But Tick still wants to at least try to protect himself. Montrose also, well, if it's all right with you, I'm going to do everything to protect my son and my grandson. Look at Montrose stepping up. We cut back to Diana, brand spanking new Diana, Miss Ross if you're nasty. Diana comes in and she's like, all right, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of these things following me with this music playing, like this wind-up music playing. I'm sick of it. What did you do to me? And how can it be undone? And you asshole, my mama's name is Greek. Whole new Diana. I was like, you better say that shit, Diana. But, he says, if you want it taken off, if you want all those, horrific things to disappear, you want to be able to tell someone what's going on, because we saw that she can't tell anyone else what's happening. Bring me the, harems, the solar system that's been gone. Like, where have you been? This captain is so out of the loop. Like, that's been long gone with Hippolyta for episodes now. Where you been? Like, you bring that to me. You bring it out of the house to me, and I'll take the spell off. Dad's like, nope, to hell with both of you. Brought some of that, that spit from, this was some thick spit in this show. We already had Montrose with the spit. There's some thick spit in this show. Even baby Diana's spit is thick. Spits on him like, you go to hell. I was like, all right, Diana. Runs off. He's like, no, forget her. I'm going to get what's mine. Hippolyta got what's yours episodes ago. Keep up, Captain. Oh. Now, we cut back to Montrose and Tick. And we also learned that Tick said, in the future, a hooded woman with a robotic arm gave him this book. I am thinking that this is the same woman that we got, with the grand afro. Miss Mother Earth herself, future Mother Earth. I'm like, what's going on there? Like, did she give him the book? Was it Hippolyta? Like, I'm feeling like it was her, because he said, it's a robotic arm. But they proceed to try to cast this spell. Tick makes his, his circle of blood. And Montrose, divulges that, hey, sometimes I read stuff backwards. I am dyslexic. What else are you keeping from me, old man? And Montrose has a little setback of, which I was wondering. I was like, when are we just going to ignore that he killed that woman? That poor indigenous screaming woman? And he's like, I thought he was going to tell him for a second, but he didn't. But he tries to cast a spell, and they're both like, did you feel anything? No. Did the earth move for you? No. But, they come to the conclusion that it didn't work. Like, oh, damn, I'm not protected. Plan B. Christina, I was like, okay. Y'all really in love, huh? Ruby and Christina, y'all really in love, huh? Christina takes it upon herself because, Ruby wanted her so bad to feel something. And she gave her that horrific story of, what happened to Emmett Till. Christina Emmett Till's herself. She pays two, white bystanders, to, random men to do this to her. Christina is beaten within an inch of her life. She's shot in the chest. She's wrapped in this barbed wire and made to sink with a cotton gin, just like Emmett Till was. It was so gruesome. This was very much for Emmett Till, and clearly something the writers and directors felt like, you people need to see this. You still need to see this even till this day, because it's still happening now. Of course, it's different because most stuff just end, with a gun. Same here, but just even more brutal. We get to see how he just became so unrecognizable in that casket shot. And Christina, comes out of the water just looking thankful just to be alive. And we see her actually get to feel something for the first time. And we see that, she put herself through this for Ruby, so she can relate to Ruby. Like, oh, y'all in love. All right, Ruby. We cut to Letty in her dark room developing pictures. Ruby joins her and thinks, that she's developing pictures of the funeral, those shots of Emmett Till. And she's like, his mom was, brave enough to put that out there for the world to see. And I just couldn't even take a few lousy pictures. And Ruby tells her, you should never feel guilty for protecting yourself. Kind of giving her the right of way for her little meeting with Christina beforehand. Like, don't feel guilty for that. You're protecting yourself. You're protecting your baby. You should never feel guilty for that. Then Ruby confesses to everything upon Letty admitting, telling her, I'm pregnant. Congratulations, sis. Oh my God, this is so incredible. Oh, a new baby in the family. Oh, joy. Really? Why? Ruby does everything but kind of throw up in her mouth like, look at what he's gotten you into. You should have never followed him to Artem. Like, yeah, I know everything. I know all about what's going on, all about the magic. How? Christina, my boo thing. And Letty's like, why? Ruby, you can't trust her. And she's like, no, you can't trust him. Look at what he's gotten you into. I'm okay. I'm getting what I want. I'm getting magic. I could be a white woman. I work at this, Marshall Field store that I've wanted to work at forever. I'm getting something I want. What are you getting? Besides pregnant. Really, Ruby? Before Letty can really tear into her, hey, come take a look at this. CinemaSins. Hey, y'all, come up here. Come take a look at this. The police have surrounded the house. We cut back to Diana, who has locked herself in, the travel guide store, into, her dad's shop. And we see her, she has a pipe, this newfound, she's ready to protect herself. She's like, I'm not running anymore. I've been running from these things, riding my bike, running on foot, being chased all day. Let's go. We cut back to Letty. The cops are at the door, yet again, trying to come in to get that harem that's not there, but can't come in. That seal of protection is still on that door. And it's like, well, if he's magic, he knows we're magic. Shots fired. Light up the house. We cut back to Diana, she's drawing, past the time, and we see these little, demonic things get into the garage and start attacking her. Now, while they're attacking her, Montrose is, yet again, coming to rescue Diana. But he can't see anything. But, we see these scratches start to form on her, and he knows something is there, especially with everything going on. Montrose should be the last person to go, hey, calm down, baby girl, ain't nothing there. No, something's here. Cut back to Letty, who set up like, oh, shit, I'm invulnerable. Why am I ducking down? I can't be hurt. Tig is coming back home and approaching, and he sees the officers, who, of course, because we seen a black man with his hands up, unarmed. We're going to shoot him. The symbolism in this show. Tig, we got I can't breathe. We got everything here. We were shooting. Letty is running out like, no, not my baby. Running out to save Tig because, of course, she can't be hurt. before Letty could get there, this Shabagat pig beast thing that I'm thinking is Jen pops up and saves him. Now, if you remember a few episodes ago, it was said that these things would come up, to protect someone only if they really needed protecting. Jen is one of these things. The succubus is this, because it looks very reminiscent of the, the things in Autumn, those vampire beast-like creatures, because it had, all the eyes. But it protects him, which I said Squidward tentacles would be back to protect her man, and she was there. It hauled ass on the whole damn police department, it looked like, because the bodies was being hauled off. Killed everything moving along with the captain. So that's no longer a threat. Hell, most of the damn police, any of that magic was gonna look stomped out. They're, steady trying to run away, but notices that, this thing is here to protect me. They're like, well, damn, the protection spell worked. I'm like, did it work, or is that Jen? I'm not totally sure. Please leave a comment below and let me know. I'm like, I'll probably find out when I watch other people's reviews, but I was like, is Jen being protective over Atticus? Or is this just the spell working and this is something else? Because I saw the legs, and because it looked different from the others. That was Jen. I believe so. But that was the episode. Great episode. Where the hell is Hippolyta? What, life is she in with all of this going on? Like, your daughter is in whole danger and you're off dancing with Josephine Baker. But we got to see a new side of Montrose, which was interesting. We also saw that Montrose seems to be unafraid to sacrifice himself. And I wouldn't be surprised if we got that character arc of Montrose being the one to die instead of Tick. But that was the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I see you guys next time because episode 9, that preview for episode 9 looks like a tough episode, and I can't wait to see. I think it's episode 10 that we done. Oh my gosh, what am I gonna watch? I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I see you guys next time. Bye.